Hello and welcome to Love Audio's YouTube channel. My name is Paul Webber. Great to have you along this evening, this afternoon, this morning, wherever in the world you are watching this from. Do let me know in the comments, especially if you're new here. Now, what is Love Audio production all about? Well, it's a safe, fun, friendly, and hopefully entertaining and informative platform where you can learn the basics in audio production. So if you guys are on board with that, let's get cracking. Straight away, we say hi to some people. First of all, hi to Rich Vibes. Well, hello, Mr. Webber, he says. Thank you very much indeed for joining, Rich. Hope you're well over there in Exeter in South Devon. Great to have you along tonight. Hopefully, Bruce is on the stream because it was Bruce's suggestion about tonight's topic. And as you'll know from the thumbnail that I posted up a little earlier on today and in the teaser, it is, of course, about compression, gates, and limiters when using these in audio production. So we're going to run through a few of those settings. And, you know, this is all very subjective, of course, because when you're recording and when you're going live and things like that, you know, you're creating your own sound. So the settings that I might come up with on this particular stream tonight might be completely different to the way that you tweak your compressor, your gate, or your limiter. So I just want you to bear that in mind. It's not one rule fits all because, you know, each scenario is going to be different depending on whether you're doing live, maybe you're you know, doing a live musician, live band, whatever it might be. Maybe you're doing recorded stuff as well. So you want to be able to tweak that whilst you're doing your recording. Best to test it, of course, and that's the golden rule with everything, of course, is to test. So always try that and you know, try the settings themselves and see what happens, see what changes at the other end, you know, whether it's your viewers or your listeners, and they will obviously, hopefully, be able to tell you, you know, whether it's bad or good. And also, you can record yourself as well and listen back to that and see the differences that those changes in those parameters make, okay? Now, I did make some notes about what we're going to be doing this evening, so do excuse me if I refer to some bits of paper here. But I want to make sure that I cover most bases off with this, okay? So hopefully, yeah, bear with me if you can, and we'll get straight into it. Let's bring up, what I've got here is, I'm using the PreSonus Studio Live 32SC digital console, and if you take a look at my so look here, my desktop, for instance, that shows basically the parameters for each of the channels that are coming through to you on mix 7 and 8. You'll see that on the bottom right-hand side there, or the middle right-hand side, it says aux 7 and 8. Well, that's the audio that's coming to you to the live stream. Now, you'll see all these LEDs bouncing around. There's a slight delay between when I speak and when it comes up on the screen. So that's going to be slightly off-putting. However, we should be able to get through it and we should be able to demonstrate certain things that you can try on your own with your own compressor, gates and limiters as well, okay? So without further ado, let's crack on and get into it, shall we? So first of all, I think we'll take a look at the most simplest thing, really, and that's the gate over here on the left-hand side of the screen as you see it, okay? Now, a gate, pretty simply, is this. If you can picture, you know, a gate is exactly what it says on the tin, basically. It lets things through, but then you close it behind you, and it doesn't let anything else through. It's a bit like a gate on a farmyard, you know? The farmer opens the gate, lets his cattle or sheep through the gate, and then closes the gate behind so that A, they don't get back out again, and B, nothing else can follow it in through to the farmyard or whatever it might be, right? So, similarly, with a gate in audio production, what you're looking to do is to allow most of the frequencies through from your voice, but then anything after that, like After Effects and you know, kind of noise from a fan from a computer perhaps, or an AC unit, or, you know, just noise generally in the background, you don't want that coming through. So you try and set your gate to not be too aggressive, because I'll show you what happens when you do make the gate too aggressive. Okay, what happens is this, is that when you turn the threshold, and the threshold is one of the main things that we're going to be changing here, okay? So when you change the threshold and you move it up to there, what's happening now, what it's doing it's cutting off the beginning and end of my voice. As I change that, you can see that. So as I change the threshold, it sounds a bit woolly because what it's doing is chopping off the front of my words and also the end of my words as well. So that sounds awful. So the threshold there is -24. And I just absolutely hate that. So what you need to do is to bring the threshold back down to about there is where I have mine. So that's -46 dB, okay? Other things that you can see on these parameters are the attack. So in other words, how quickly you want the gate to work. How quickly do you want that to come in? That's called attack. Release is how soon after the event do you want that to release your sound and get back to normal sort of thing, you know, without the gate happening, okay? And another one there is range. Now, the range, I don't really, I think that's more to do with audio range. And if you are, let's say, for instance, you're putting a gate across a musician and they're playing in a certain range, then that's how you would do that with regards to the range of gate that you want to be able to, you know, to stop that noise coming through. So I tend not to touch that one. To be fair, I did a demo on this recently. I didn't use that. Another one is key filter as well. So what this is doing, believe it or not, is picking out, and it's gone kind of weird again. You can hear that sound, that difference as well, can't you, hopefully, where it's looking for a key. It's actually filtering out anything 1.10 kilohertz. So it's cutting off my top end. So if I raise that even more, you're hardly going to. It's only allowing the. Do you see what I mean? It's only allowing that top end through, which is really kind of bizarre, isn't it? So key filter, yeah. So you know, you can drop that down. I don't even use that, as I say. So my key filter is going to be off on this particular occasion because I don't use it, and it's going to interfere with audio. So I've got it up at 800 hertz there, which is quite low. So it's actually filtering out the bass notes as well there. So let's get rid of that and let's turn that off. It's really frustrating. Like I said, don't touch the range, but the release I've got at 708 milliseconds. Okay, that's not seconds, that's milliseconds. And the attack is coming in quite quickly at 5 milliseconds. Okay, so coming in really quickly, releasing after 708 milliseconds. And you know, you can have the gate listen to a key, for instance. So it's listening for the key. And it can do all sorts of kind of filtering with that. The key source here, we're looking at channel. Where are we on the booth? No, we're not on the booth. We're on the. Let's have a look here. We're on the now desk, which is channel 9. So, for instance, if I do that for channel 9, it's now listening to whatever is going through channel 9 and listening for a key. But the key filter is off, of course. But if I put the key filter there, what it's now doing is listening to anything that it doesn't like at, let's say, 389 hertz. Let's put it up to about 2.71 kilohertz. It's only letting through, that's only letting through the, sounds really strange. And it's really bizarre in my headphones. I don't know if you're getting it at your end. Let me just check the chat here for you, 2 seconds. So, there we go. So, good evening. Yeah, Sammy says I can hear the gate. Thank you very much indeed, Sammy. Sammy, hi to you. Thank you for joining. We're looking at gates, compressors, limiters, and that kind of thing. Love audio time. That's brilliant. Bruce is in. Good evening. Thank you very much. And Rich says, can't see the filter key. It's just off the screen. Yes, it is. And I tried to kind of tweak that earlier. I don't have one of those kind of Zoom tools, so I might have to get one of those. But anyway, so what we're looking at here is the universal control, which comes with the Studio Live 32SC, and we're monitoring the desk channel here. So this one here is my microphone channel. And if I bring that back up, it's also controlling the fader. So when I move that, it's moving the fader at the same time, which is really bizarre, watching that move on its own. But here we are. We're looking at the gate. I'm not particularly bothered about that key filter because I don't have the key on anyway, so I'm going to leave that as it is. So, like I say, you know, if you move the threshold right the way down here to the bottom, that's with no. You might as well pretty much turn the gate off. So we'll turn the gate off, and that's what you get if you drop the threshold down to its furthest lowest point, which is -84 dB on this particular gate. Okay, so you can hear the woo woo. You can hear the sound in the background. You could probably hear my fridge making a noise. You could probably hear my computer under the desk making a noise. But what we're going to do now is put the gate back on. and then move that threshold to about there. That's where I tend to have the gate set. So that's negative 47.88 dB. And it doesn't have to be precise by all means, but and again, you'll be able to tweak this yourself. So you would tweak this according to your own settings and your own microphone and your own room noise and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so whatever I do here today isn't necessarily going to reflect what you could do at home with your own setup or in your own studio. Okay, just bear that in mind. All right, so the very next thing we're going to look at then in that case is the compressor. Now, this is a great tool, because what this does is, there are various types of compressor out there, as you may know. You could have a standard compressor like we've got on the screen here. You could have a tube compressor like that, which is a fantastic looking piece of kit. Let's put that on, and you'll see that working, hopefully. And you can choose between limiting and compressing on that one. It's not really doing a lot, so it's not working too hard, because I don't tend to have oh my gosh, that really is working, isn't it? But then you've got to give the gain a bit of a boost as well. So 1, 2, 3, wow, okay, that sounds great. Actually, that sounds really good. So we're going to use a tube compressor from now on. I can't change too much of this because I'll be recording a radio show in the morning, and it's based on the previous settings. But you see what I mean? So, you're reducing the peak of your audio. However, what you've done is you've given it some gain. You've actually boosted the gain there to make that we call it makeup gain, and it's designed to give you more volume because you're actually compressing your audio, but you want it still to be punchy and kind of radio sounding, if you like. So I'm going to drop that back down. I'm going to drop that back down as well. Turn that off, and I'm going to bring the compressor back. Well, there's a FET there as well. So FET, a FET compressor, has a lot more going on. There's an output and input there, of course. There's the attack and release, as we mentioned earlier, but you've got ratio settings here of 20:1, 12:1, 8:1, and it's currently on 4:1. Okay, it's not on, but it's on now. There you go. So that's a FET compressor, and that's on a 4:1 ratio setting, and you can have all of them on as well. Why you want all of them on, I really don't know, but anyway. So yeah. So that's a FET compressor, but we're going to stick with the standard because that tends to be the one that's mostly in most people's arsenal, if you will, with regards to compressors. So let's reduce that. So this is the compressor with no kind of settings on it as well. You might as well be turning it off because it's got no settings on it at all there. You see that? So it's not working at all, and you see the LEDs moving as well. Those the green ones are my voice coming in. Okay. Now, when you change the threshold, look what happens. So this line here changes, and this is what we call the knee. So this looks like the knee joint, if you will, okay? So we call that the knee, and you bring the threshold down to wherever you think, you see right down there, what that does is that compresses the audio, but then, of course, like I said to you before, what you need to do is to raise that gain up so that you get that volume up to where you had it before. Do you know what I mean? So that gives you a very punchy sound. So that's kind of very radio sounding. Okay, yeah, thanks very much indeed. Welcome along and all that kind of stuff. So it's very, very intense, if you will, and it's picking up every single breath I make, every single breath I take. Yeah. So it's picking up the breath that I breathe. And you get that because it's not, there's no gate on there. It's not working very hard as regards to gate, but it's working really hard to compress the audio. So it's lifting quiet parts of audio and then squashing, if you will. It's squashing, like loud parts of the audio as well. So, if I was doing an introduction again. So what is Love Audio Production all about? It's a safe, fun, friendly, and hopefully entertaining platform for you to learn the basics in audio production. So if you're on board with that, let's go. And it's kind of very kind of radio-ish, and you can play around with the compressor settings all you like to make that really, really punchy sound. But what you don't want it to do, as I mentioned earlier on, you don't want it to be hard-working to this extent, really. This is a bit overkill for me, so I'm going to drop the gain back down again. Like that, and then bring the threshold up to about there is where I tend to have it. So it's not working as hard as it was earlier. In fact, it's barely touching the surface, to be fair. And I might give it a little bit of gain, but not much because I don't want it to be peaking on my radio show tomorrow. But that's kind of where I have the settings there. And again, you've got the key listen thing as well on this particular one. you've got an attack of 20 milliseconds. So it's coming in 20 milliseconds after it hears the audio, okay? And then does its business and then releases it 150 milliseconds, I beg your pardon, later, okay? Let's just check the messages, make sure we haven't missed out on anybody's notes. Let's have a look here. Sammy says, I hear the gate. Thank you. Let's have a look here. Rich said, oh no, he said the A word. Horrible word to be hearing. Horrible word to hear being a Spurs fan. I don't quite know what that means because I don't follow football, but I'm sure you're having a whale of a time over there. So thank you very much indeed for that. I have no idea what he's talking about. So that's fine. Good. Attack. Okay, maybe. See, you know, it's all lost on me. I have no clue about football. So, but anyway, back to the actual thing. So that's the compressor we've dealt with there. So the attack is 20 milliseconds, release is 150 milliseconds, and then threshold, and then it's got a ratio of 2:1. And I tend to keep it on 2:1 as well. You could change that. Like earlier on, we kind of changed the ratio of 4:4 or 4.4:1. That's raising my voice, but it's not letting everything through. So it's not picking up on every single nuance of my breath or anything like that. So I tend to have it at 2.0:1. That's where I have the ratio. And again, it's going to be completely different for you. You know, your audio setup is completely different to mine. And that's where you need to play with your own and you know, find out the settings that you agree with yourself, okay? So that's compression. That's what it's doing is squashing all of the audio file into kind of, you know, a narrower band of audio, if you will. So this is the top end, this is the bottom end. It's squishing that down so that it's kind of uniform. So it's lifting up quiet parts of your audio, but it's compressing louder parts so that you don't end up peaking when it comes to coming out the other end of the speakers or at the end of your stream or anything like that, okay? So then we move on to limiter. Now, the limiter is on the right-hand side of my screen here. Apologies that it's a bit small. And it's only got, as you notice, by the way, it's only got one dial on it, okay? And that's your threshold button. And, you know, I tend not to use limiters unless I'm mastering the final track, you know, and putting a final polish on it, if you will. You know, a limiter really does what it says on the tin. It's limiting the amount of audio that gets to the final mix. However, you still get that volume. So what you're doing is it's almost like a compressor, but it's not. It's actually limiting those peaks. So I can put a limiter on the final mix, and it will enable it not to go into the red. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, you're playing the audio, and you have a limiter on the final track, and it will prevent that peaking getting to the main audio out, so the main mix, if you will. All right. So we're going to have a go and see what the limiter sounds like when we start playing around with it. And you'll notice, let me see if I can just zoom in a second, because we're kind of on the end of this particular subject. So let me just go to the pip, and I'll see if I can zoom in a second. Stay there a second, guys. It might be a bit easier for you to see. So if I go to there, multi-view, and then go to the desktop capture, and then if I zoom in and then bring it over like that, there you go. Is that any better? And I'll crop that so you can still see me in the box. Okay, so that, yeah. So now we're looking at the limiter. So what happens is when we tweak the limiter settings, it's currently on 0 dB, right? So it's not doing anything at all. It's not. You might as well just turn it off. Okay, same as that. So you turn it on, turn it off like that, no problem at all. So we've got it on now. Now here's where the limiter comes in. So have a listen to this. So we're changing the dB, negative dB, of course, don't forget. Sorry for the screen flickering. I think it's kind of really power intensive with regards to the CPU. So should be using a graphics card. But anyway, so we turn the limiter up until you see that blue line coming in on the right-hand side of that LED ladder there. You see that? So now you know the limiter is working. So I can be shouting away like that, and it's not going to be peaking at your end, hopefully, because the limiter is working hard in order to stop any of that nasty audio getting to the final mix. Okay? So there you can see that working. On the right-hand side of that LED ladder there, where the green one's coming up, the blue one's coming down, what the blue one is doing is limiting that audio getting to your final mix. Okay, so you could even go a bit further than that. You could. Where are we going? Where are we going with this? Yeah. Okay. So now it's working extremely hard. Okay. I don't know if that's really it's affecting my headphones, but don't forget I'm listening to the main mix and not what you guys are hearing. So is that? Let me know if that's changing anything, by the way. Does it sound weird? Does it sound like it's squishing that audio down? Do let me know in the comments, won't you? Because that's really helpful. Arsenal. Okay, fine. I have no idea what he's talking about. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, I get it. I referred to Arsenal as being your audio arsenal. You're correct. Yes. Well done, Rich. Nice football reference. You see, you can always fox me with a football reference. Okay. So yeah, this is the limiter working really, really hard. So I'm going to just release that a bit more. And again, you can still see it working. So that blue ladder coming down, whereas the green ladder is going up. And that's what's happening before it gets to aux 7 and 8, which is what you're hearing down the line. So hopefully that is changing. I know I did this this demo on a different channel, and it wasn't making any difference really to the end audio, because I think the computer was taking it from a different source. It wasn't taking it from 7 and 8, which was kind of bizarre. But anyway, hopefully that does make a difference, and you can tell that, you know, when you've got it off completely, that's how it sounds. But when you've got it on cranked up like that, then what that does is that really does, you know, kind of squash that audio down, and it only allows through what it thinks it should send to the final mix, and that's where the limiter comes in. But what you would do then in that case is you'd have your audio limited like that, maybe about halfway, okay? But then you'd give it some gain. So you'd on the gain channel you would raise the gain up, and that would give you. But then again, you don't want it to be peaking, do you? So you know you've got to make sure that you don't over increase the gain, because otherwise you're going to end up with peaking all over the place. So yeah, that's the limiter. So we've gone for limiter, compressor, and gate. I'm going to briefly touch. I'm going to turn that off because we don't have limiter on anyway, so I can turn that down now. Let's put it to there, which is where it should normally be. So we're going to look at the Equalizer, and that is a 70s and 80s TV show. I realize that I've just just mentioned that. So let me just bring that up there, and then uncrop that. Bring that in, and crop that so it's not too much. There we go. So you've got the Equalizer in the window. Now I happen to have a vintage EQ on the system here, as you can probably tell from the writing here. This is the PreSonus vintage EQ, and if I turn it off like that, then that's in my headphones. That's gone really flat. There's no sparkle to it. There's no bass. It's just completely flat. Okay. So the settings I've dialed in like that are pretty much a high frequency here. You can see that I've got that at about 4.9 dB. High to mid frequencies about 4 as well. Low to mids I've got at 3.39, and then the bass, the low frequencies, I've got at 4.35 dB. Okay, and we're looking at these different settings here. So 220 hertz, 110 hertz. I've got that at 60 hertz. And that's quite low. So because I've got a fairly low deep voice, hopefully. So some of that is lifting some of my bass notes, but it's also not going to drown out that by having too much low end, okay? And then you can go even lower than that with 35 hertz. So if you've got a really deep voice, then you might use that setting and then dial that off a bit rather than having it on, okay? So if you did that, for instance, and then you dial down that, then you're going to get less bass notes in there than what you had if you were having it about there, for instance, okay? And that's pretty much where I have it. So that's not too bad there. So you can see the Equalizer can change, and these do change, but and I know for a fact that if I do this, it's going to change completely. So the standard EQ on the PreSonus is this, okay? And then you boost the low, you've got the low to mids, you do that, and then you've got the high, you do that as well, and then you've got the high frequencies up there as well. So you can play around with all these kind of frequencies as well, and you've got gain as well, you've got gain there for each one, and you can narrow the field of that Q as well, okay? You can have a high-pass filter, a low-pass filter, all of these kind of things you can do with your settings in your own Equalizer, okay? And it's going to really mess things up now, so I'm going to go back to my vintage one. and dial back in. Let's put that on again. So we're going to dial back in where I had those settings. I think it was that one. Yes, it is. I can hear it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then high frequency to give it a bit more sparkle. 222, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2. So okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's a little bit high. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Where do we have what? 1, 2, 3. That's mids. It's quite sharp, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I prefer that one actually, to be fair. It's a bit sharper, so that's good. And then the bass, as I say, I've got that dialed in on 60 hertz and around about there. So there we go. And limiter, as I say, we don't have it on, so that's fine. Gate we've already talked about, which is brilliant. And then compressor, of course, is that one there. So yeah, that pretty much does that particular aspect of tonight's show. If there's any questions, by the way, then do drop them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. Edward Woodward or Denzel Washington. Okay, no idea what that means, but thank you. Voices or, you know, whatever else you're thinking about, Rich, let me know in the comments. Right, we've got over the football thing. Bruce obviously is on the channel, Brew La Fou, and it was Bruce's idea to have this as a subject. So thanks very much indeed for your suggestion, Bruce. Hope tonight was kind of fairly informative, and, you know, let me know how you get on with tweaking your Equalizer. You see, I'm missing out on these things, aren't I? I say these things, and I don't even realize why I'm saying them, and what relationship they have to pop culture. It's a bit like Luria. She's, Luria on Live Streaming Pros is a self-confessed person that knows nothing about pop culture, and everybody calls her out for it. So I'm kind of getting that reputation, aren't I? But I wasn't even thinking about that. I was trying to focus on the work. But thanks for bringing it to my attention. All right, so yeah, if there's any changes to that audio, then obviously do let me know. It sounds different to me already, and I'm going to have to tweak that before tomorrow's radio show, but it'll be absolutely fine. So for those of you who don't know, I do a radio show on Zest Liverpool. You can find it at zestliverpool.com. And but can you do maths on stream? No, I can't. So yeah, I go live Monday. No, not necessarily live. I record it, but it goes out live between 1 and 4 p.m. Monday to Friday on zestliverpool.com. So yeah, check me out on there if you can. It's a weekday show, Monday to Friday. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. By the way, if you're watching this on the playback and you've not subscribed yet, please do so, because that lets you know when we go live next, which is generally every Monday night at 8 p.m. British summertime. In the autumn, that changes, of course, to is it GMT? Yeah, Greenwich Mean Time. But currently we're on British summertime, so wherever that changes around the world, of course, do let us know as well. Now, what else was going to show you? We have the website, of course, you can visit that anytime. It's loveaudio.co.uk. And if you want any merchandise like T-shirts and mugs, there's some new T-shirts up there as well doing the rounds, so you know, by all means check that out as well, and you'll be helping the channel out no end, which is great. Also, my other website you can check out, that's loveaudiobits.co.uk, loveaudiobits, bitz.co.uk, and yeah, you'll find there's a store on there where you can find microphones, cables, all that kind of stuff as well. So yeah, really, really good. Bruce says, just been on a works call. How's the shop coming on? Shop's coming on fine. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, really, really good. I realize I'm a bit low here on in the thing. I know, never mind. So yeah, it's going really well. So thank you very much indeed for that, Bruce. And yeah, it's good. And can I share some news with you? Come closer. Can I share some news with you? I've been reaching out to certain suppliers of audio equipment, and I'm pleased to announce that Focusrite are looking to have me as their Cornwall representative, if you will. So, you know, the local store for buying Focusrite gear. Got to do all the application and everything else, but it's pretty good. And yeah, and also another announcement came in today, by the way. You know that I use PreSonus predominantly here, the Studio Live 32SC, and also the PreSonus software as well, Studio 1.5. PreSonus have written back to me from Ireland and said, we'd love to have you as our Southwest distributor. We don't have anybody in the Southwest that sells our gear, including Plymouth. And so we'd be delighted to receive your application for a reseller. So that's 2 bits of good news in the space of 2 or 3 days, like over the weekend and stuff like that. So I'm really pleased about that. So yeah, going to be stocking PreSonus and also Focusrite gear as well. So yeah, absolutely chuffed to bits, can't tell you. And also the good thing about the Focusrite stuff is that they supply you with this kind of point of sale board, if you will, like a stack, and then each item would be on each kind of shelf, if you will. So you know, for instance, the 2i2, the 404, the 6i6, I think it is, and the 8 i8, I think it's like you know, like 4 inputs, 4 outputs. Rich says, "Congrats, mate. Well done. Thank you. Great news. Brilliant. Thank you, Rich." So yeah, I really I can't tell you how chuffed I am to announce that today. I wasn't going to announce it until another stream, but I thought I'm just so excited. I just can't hide it. So yeah, really looking forward to getting that. It means I've got to spend some money, however, to get the stock in. But you know, they'll mirror that with demo stock and things like that, which is cool. But yeah, really good, really good. And hopefully I can get some good deals. And then those will go on the website, which is here, by the way. Yeah. There. So yeah, those items will go on the website and also on the physical stock as well here in the shop. So yeah, it's exciting times. So not only will I have my Studio Live 32SC in here, I might have a different one or something similar, or you know, look at the stage gear that they provide and stuff like that. You know, the snakes and stuff. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great, and hopefully they'll send me away on a training course. That'll be good fun as well. At least I know what I'm doing then. Listen, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Hi to Bruce, to Rich, to Sammy, and to anybody else that's watching on the replay, or anybody that's watching in the background and hasn't announced themselves yet, because I know there are a few lurkers. I can tell by the algorithm and the mathematics that's going on backstage. Rich says, "Great show, buddy. Thank you very much indeed." And like I say, hope the audio. You were able to kind of see that and hear that going on as well. I mean, it's difficult because sometimes the computer doesn't pick up on everything that's coming down mix 7 and 8, which is what I send you guys, right? And so, you know, I can hear it in my headphones, I can hear the difference and everything else, but it's whether you guys can hear it at your end. That's the point. So I hope that was the case. And if not, do let me know in the comments after the fact, and I'll try and tweak some settings and stuff in the computer to find out why that's not happening. All right. So yeah, without further ado, I think I'll wrap things up here and say cheerio. But thanks so much for watching. I'll keep you posted as regards the stock coming in and all that kind of stuff once the applications have gone in. And yeah, that should hopefully be in the next couple of months, definitely before Christmas, which is brilliant. Rich says I was listening through my laptop, so I'm not much help. Not a problem at all. And again, you know, it's better to listen on headphones sometimes on these things, but it's not always possible, and I get that. So, but thanks for taking part, Rich. Do appreciate it. And yeah, don't forget to catch Rich Vibe show on Sundays on Mixcloud. Bruce has a channel, Brew La Fou. Check that out as well. Sammy Superstar has his own YouTube channel as well, which is growing rapidly. Well done, Sammy, doing all those key interviews with various people into live streaming. So that's pretty good. And Rich Vibes has got a new YouTube channel as well. So yeah, keep supporting where you can, support each other where you can. And I'll see you on the next show, which will be next Monday night. I'm going to start doing some stuff as well for the Love Audio Bits, which of course is the new channel, of course, and you'll find that at YouTube as well. Whiskey tasting. I can't even speak. Whiskey tasting this Friday night, says Bruce. Brilliant. There you go. So get on to Brew La Fou and watch Bruce gradually, and it is a gradual process, gradually get more and more merrier as the night goes on. That's all I'll say. It's a good watch, actually, to be fair, and it's very interesting. I'm not into whiskey myself, but certainly I found it fascinating to watch. So try and check him out if you can. Brew La Fou is the channel, and you'll find Bruce doing some whiskey tasting this coming Friday night, by the sound of it. Brilliant stuff. All right, enjoy. Thank you so much again, everybody. And like I said, catch you on the next one. Take care, guys. Oh, perfect. It's bottles under 50 quid this time. I should hope so, because some of those are really pricey, aren't they? What's this? Hang on a second. Can't talk. Drunk again, Paul? No, how rude. Cheers, Paul. Thank you very much indeed, Bruce. No problem at all. And we'll see you soon. Take care.